We're going to go to line number 1, and we're speaking with Liberal MHA of Mount Pearl South, none other than Mr. Paul Lane. How are you tonight?
Jonathan, I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, Bye. I got to say, it's been a great show. We're having so much interesting conversation and great debate. This is the butter of my bread.
There you go. Well, there's certainly lots to be talking about. There's no doubt about that. And here in Newfoundland, for sure, there seems to be always lots on the go for fodder. Certainly lots in the political realm, for sure.
Absolutely. It's never a dull moment. I don't know, you folks must wake up in the morning and look out the window and wonder what will happen.
That's true. Particularly, I would say, particularly in the last year, I tell you, there's been a lot of surprises, a lot of unexpected happenings, for sure. But anyway, that's it. That's what keeps it all interesting, for sure.
That's right.
Jonathan, I just wanted to, have a little chat about the issue of affordable housing and affordable seniors housing and so on.
Please.
And I did hear Minister O'Brien call in earlier, and that's not what prompted my call. I actually called right at the very beginning of the show, but I guess I was in the queue and there was others ahead of me, so it was just coincidental that he happened to call in about that particular topic.
Excellent.
But let me say, first of all, one of the things, I said from day one, when going over into the opposition, was that, if the government did good things, then I would certainly acknowledge those things. But that said, I had a role to play as well in terms of offering suggestions perhaps on how to do things better and to hold government's feet to the fire and to point out deficiencies where they exist. And so with that in mind, the first thing I want to say is that, I think it's a great thing. Minister O'Brien was on talking about a new affordable seniors housing project in Pleasantville. And that's very welcome, for sure. And I believe 2 of them are fully accessible, which is, again, very welcome, because I know there are a number of people out there that need accessible units. And I've certainly heard my colleague Tom Osborne, the MHA for the District of St. John South, raise that issue on a number of occasions in the media and certainly in the House of Assembly. And, the whole issue around affordable housing, as I'm sure we all know, is no surprise, is a very real issue. It's a very big issue. Certainly it's a big issue here in the metro area, and that certainly would include the city of St. John's and would include the city of Mount Pearl, Paradise, and so on. And I know that housing is certainly an issue in areas like Lab West, and certainly it's becoming an issue in other, rural areas, areas that would be in the Long Harbour area and the Come-by-Chance area and so on, because of the industrial development that's taking place and so on, that, we're seeing housing costs rise dramatically.
Dramatically?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing rents for people who have traditionally, rented apartments and so on. Mm-hmm. We've seen their rents go through the roof. I mean, we've seen where you'd had people, for example, who may have been paying, say, for instance, $400 or $500 a month, and now, literally overnight, gets notified by their landlord that that $500 is going up to $900 or $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever, and if you're able to pay, fine. If not, I'm going to have to give you your notice, because there's people who are willing and able to pay that, and of course they want to get as much for their
and you can't
property as they possibly can.
And you can't scold them for wanting to get an investment out of their property. It's so funny you should bring that up, Paul. A friend of mine recently moved out, split with his partner, I guess, and looking for a new place to live, and couldn't believe that since his last apartment rent had gone up approximately 30% within the city. And that's just the way it is. Everything has become more expensive. It is an aspect of success. It is the albatross of a have province. There's
no doubt about
the legacy of price. Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And unfortunately, as a result of those things, while it may be very positive for a lot of people, there's a lot of people here in Newfoundland and Labrador that no doubt are doing very well as a result of the boom, and when I say boom, we'll use that terminology.
Sure,
but with that, of course, what happens is that quite often people who are the more marginalized, people who are not doing so well to begin with, that this only makes their problem even worse. And when we talk about people like that, the most vulnerable people, quite often we're talking about our senior citizens. Quite often we're talking about people who may have complex needs. Quite often we may be talking about single parents or people or someone who's come from an abusive relationship, say for argument's sake, and now they're out living on their own, maybe with kids and so on, who have to try to make ends meet. And while there are certainly positives in the economy, that there is a negative impact to those people. And for those people, I think that the difference, I think I've heard it said before, that what a society is really measured by how it treats the most vulnerable people living within that society.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
How it really is a true measurement of ourselves as as human beings.
From neighborhood to government to anybody. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Absolutely. And so, while I applaud the initiative that Minister O'Brien announced tonight, I think that's great.
We have to wrap it up.
While I realize there are other programs out there in terms of like the home heating rebate, the senior supplement, the home repair program, the residential energy efficiency program, these are all good programs.
Yes.
And I certainly support every one of them, and I know my colleagues in the official opposition do as well. But the bottom line is that we still need to strive to do better, because there are many people that are still falling behind. There are many people still falling through the cracks, and I've had people who have contacted me, constituents of mine, people on lower incomes, people who are single parents, and senior citizens who desperately need housing. They desperately need subsidized rental. They need rent supplements, or they need Newfoundland Labrador housing units and so on. And they're on a waiting list for an extensive period of time. And, in the meantime, they're finding it very, very difficult, if not impossible, to make ends meet. Also have
Paul, I got to cut you off. We have to go to the break, but you're right, and it's also a capacity issue. While you can build these one housing unit at a time, you can only do so much if you do not have the people around to actually build those damn houses. So call back next week. I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about human resources, okay? Sorry to cut you off, but we're running really late, so I'm going to wish you a good evening, and we'll continue this next time.
Absolutely, Jonathan.
Right.
This is too important of a topic to not talk about, so I'll be calling on this again.
Great. We have a date.
Thank
Take care,
you.
buddy.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.